take him here, it's got to be for a reason.
Yeah, and I think Outlast are definitely comfortable on Villa. Neither of these teams have ever banned the map, and only Waverunners have played it, and it was that win against the Pioneers. So this match should prove interesting. I will say, earlier in the season, I was excited for this game for a very different reason. With their earlier performances, I know I was advertising to my close friends that this might be the funniest game we've ever seen in CL. I'll say it. It sounds mean, but with the early performance from both these teams, I think the sentiment is pretty understandable. But now they've been looking much improved. So again, I'm excited because I think this will actually be a pretty good game. First bans are going to be Hibana and Thatcher. Pretty standard. Thatcher, all the time, every map, he's always getting banned. When it comes to Villa, hard breach from a range is what reigns supreme. So with that ace, the Hibana, those are very important. With Hibana being banned, it's curious that Cade is the next to follow, as, the Hibana is usually the one that he's hard countering. But I guess without a Thatcher, Cade's still a little bit difficult to deal with, and especially on this map. And a site like Trophy, he can be a pretty big headache to deal with. And of course, Valkyrie, another one of those bans where we did see it up on Coastline, but she's still a fairly common ban on most, if not all maps.
All right, you do have the Maverick in play, so that Kaid ban is also something that, you do wonder about, but it is a very hard map to use the Maverick well. You have to get in a couple of uncomfortable positions. You have to go all the way up to a wall that often ends up resulting in you being blown sky high. So we'll have to see how this one shakes up, but like you said, nothing funny about these bans. Pretty standard stuff overall, and seems that these two teams are in for quite a battle. We're already going to be seeing a little bit of a shake-up, especially on this defensive side, because you don't have the Valkyrie. We're going to see that intel put in a couple of other avenues. Some intel denial, of course, both in the hands of Silent and Niccolo, the Mozzie and the Mute, respectively. But you're also bringing out some intel game yourself. That's going to be Vena bringing out the Echo and the Yokai drones. For that, usually, that plant situation, you're going to combine that with the smokes, and you've got quite a bit of utility for the attacking team to clear out before they want to get that bomb down. Something that often culminates in an all-out push on towards that default vault door plant spot, because that is where typically we see all of that plant denial utility come into play here. On the side of Outlast, nothing too crazy about this lineup. We do have the Jackal on the board, and that is what Atheno is going to be bringing out here to assist with that roam clear. What it looks like we're going to see from Outlast is a pretty standard north to south take, clearing their way through any roamers and any sort of extension that Waverunners want to manifest.
So just to clear everything up first for everyone, I just realized Lovely has changed his name to Laylee. I don't know. But if we say Lovely, that's who we're talking about. In addition, there is, in fact, a player named Nomad. So if we say Nomad, I mean, for now, at least, we're not talking about the operator. I'm very thankful that they are not bringing her at the same time, because that just makes everything a little bit easier. But already Outlast have confirmed that the entirety of the Master Trophy statuary side is completely clear and ripe for the picking, taking away some of that anti-drone utility as they work their way in. The closest point of contention is a single defender holding down 90. We saw who it was before. I don't quite remember who it was now that we've switched off, but whoever it was, they have since at least started to back off. Outlast are taking a little bit more time than I'd like them to start establishing this control, but hey, it could just be that they want to make sure everything is set up nice and proper. But Genesis is just standing in front of a deployable shield, and despite the advantage, Vena is unable to get the kill, at least for now. You will have to settle for just damage onto the Zope. I mean, it's good damage. She's down to about half HP, and now they know that shield is there. But a lot of Outlast have now started moving in on the bottom floor, either to clear anchors out using nades, confirm there's no one playing downstairs for C4, or to maybe go up main later. But either way, Outlast have taken a pretty significant amount of time to clear this north side of the map. But again, haven't really done much else. But as I say that, there's the first pick. It'll be Nomad onto the smoke of Maple.
Yeah, good kill opening with that nade, and that should give Outlast the edge they need to at least think about going for a bit of an execute. Nomad still below. Well, we know that doesn't work. The Gon 6 cannot breach through 2 layers of that flooring here, but at least you can try to establish some vertical control and force these defenders out of position. It seems that right now, though, it's going to open up Vault. That's going to be at least the priority for Outlast, as Genesis will now be holding this long angle all the way to that Aviator and Study door. Tempting to push on through, maybe wary that there could be somebody behind that wall. Correct in that worry, because Vena is sitting close behind that wall, but right now it is Lovely who goes 1-for-1. Gets a kill, but eventually falls away. Genesis and Atheno both fall as well, leaving Nomad alone against 2. Nicolo's able to get that double kill with the shotgun. Nomad, of course, securing that final kill, but a pre-fire will not do it. A swing around the classical hall will only end in a, well, I guess a bit of a trade there, as we didn't end up seeing that kill cam, but a interesting culmination in that round. It started slow, but ended very explosively with the Waverunners coming out on top in round number 1.
Yeah, despite Outlast getting that opening frag onto the smoke, no less. To be the Vault put combined with main stairs presence and the 90 repel. But you didn't have any prior control of main stairs, so there's already people set up to deny it. Nicolo was holding on as well as Silent. People who were everyone trying to push through 90 got cut down. And it was one of those where Outlast took too much time for too little control, and eventually were forced to just barrel into the site. So, good attempt, with better defense from Waverunners. And they will now swap to Trophy with a very different operator lineup. This one definitely more concentrated on the utility play inside of the site, bringing 3 shields, the Maestro and the Jaeger combo, as well as, the Wamai Jaeger combo, as well as the Maestro. So a lot of that indestructible utility for Outlast to try and peel away. They've got, do they have enough? Okay, they've got just enough to do it, but they're going to have to be really efficient with it and make sure it doesn't get caught by an ADS or a Magnet.
Yeah, good to see the Maestro in play again, an operator that we've talked a good bit about these last few weeks because he's definitely fallen out of the meta a little bit. But those cameras can be so impactful when used properly, especially over on this trophy and statuary side. You put one over in Master and you've got so much intel at your fingertips. Plus, you know, in a couple of uncomfortable positions, you can force the attackers to go out of their way, waste some utility onto those positions as well. Not to mention, I mean, like the yokai drones, they can also help deny that plant if you need. But for now, the plant is a long way off. It is the roam clear that Outlast will need to be focusing on, as the site has switched sides of the map. They're going to work their way in from the south this time, doing yet another pretty standard clear all the way through. Thankfully for them, they're not going to have to deal with much of an extension at all. The only defenders off of the site for Waverunners are playing down below in kitchen and dining. Just one player tucked down there. Everyone else comfortably locking down the site or holding a slight extension into Master itself. That's where Lovely and Silent are going to be holed up, and Nicolo, the player who was downstairs, will be jackal tracked and will rotate back into Astronomy as a result. So everyone anchored on the site, yet Outlast are continuing to take their time and clear their way on through. They may not know that somebody has dropped down once again. That is Nicolo again, who is opting to play rather aggressively, but with a C4 in hand. Understandable why you want to play below and go for these vertical plays.
In fact, he is just moving into that position to place the Nitro Cell, and it'll sit there pre-placed, waiting for info from his team to blow some unsuspecting attacker sky high. The first pick will yet again go in the favor of Outlast, as Jewel, in fact, finds 2. Not only Silent, but onto Lovely as well. A double kill for the Ace, just hanging out on the Master balcony. I really have to wonder how both Waverunners players expose themselves to that position. And Panic is actually able to trade himself out with the nade. Finally, the C4 comes into play, but it's a 1-for-1, and it's Maple in a 1 versus 4. He gets 1 kill onto Panic, but the gas canisters are not countering the plant. Atheno is going to be able to get this down almost for free. Maple with another brilliant shot onto Genesis, but now he gets caught with another one in his hand, and Atheno coming off the plant ends the round, tying us up 1-1.
Well, Outlast, again, a bit slow on the clear, especially considering there really wasn't much of an extension at all. But when it comes down to the actual push this time around, the trades going in their favor. The opening pick, they found it in round 1. They'll find it in round 2 as well. But working off that pick is the difference. In round number 1, if you recall, we saw that first kill be found, but then there was a lot of nothing. Everything kind of sat still for a few moments while Outlast continued to get their bearings and figure out where they wanted to approach the site from. But this time, that kill was found, those 2 kills were found, and Outlast wasted no time in flooding into the site, playing that man advantage, and that's exactly what you want to see from a team with that kind of style of attack, with that kind of pretty typical progression. You work your way slowly to the site, covering all your bases, but once you're there, you don't dilly-dally anymore. You execute when you see the opportunity. It's something we talked a lot about on our first matchup on Coastline, and I think it's something we're going to be talking a bit more about here on Villa, especially now that we're going to have to see how Outlast take vertically and how long they take vertically, because now we're heading down to kitchen and dining, which means vertical play is generally going to be quite a big focus. On the attacking side, you've got the Sledge, you've got the Zofia, you've got all of that vertical destruction, and on the defensive side, you're bringing out the Pulse, 2 Nitro cells to work with. That's less than normal, but you still get the job done. All of that intel to hold off that top-down clear and those vertical angles as long as possible.
Doesn't seem like Outlast are really too worried about the top floor. Their Sledge is moving in horizontally along with several other members of his team, and they will confirm that, no, there is no lateral extension from the defense. So this is pretty much all free real estate. Genesis setting up for maybe a rush through painting into Memo, but he's got to wait for a call from his team. If he does that alone, it has a pretty low success rate, especially if, the player in Memo isn't being pressured by anyone else and is prepared for it, as that's a pretty loud sound cue. Outlast, now that they understand that, everything is pretty much free on this floor, but there's still a pulse they have to deal with. Maple has, I believe, spotted out Genesis on the red stairs. We saw him kind of staring at him earlier with the scanner, so I'm sure he's called that out to his team. He'll let Silent through Laundry as well, and Niccolo, playing with the FMG9 smoke, gets the first kill before Genesis finally rushes through painting and kills the Pulse that spotted him out earlier.
That's big, because that is all of your intel game pretty much crippled at this point. We haven't seen, of course, the Valkyrie is banned. We're not seeing a Maestro this time around, because that Pulse is where your information is going to start, and apparently in this case, where it is going to end. With Maple out of this fight, Genesis is up all the way in Memo, and it's unclear if this defense is aware of it. The player behind Tetris now knowing that, and Niccolo still playing above, will be able to punish that player. This is a consequence of not clearing that top floor, a consequence that Outlast are now suffering dearly. Atheno cut down to very low HP, and Waverunners with still 4 defenders remaining. Top floor control still firmly in their grasp. This one is not looking too good for Outlast here. Nomad probably unaware of the player tucked in that corner right now, prioritizing that top floor, and that is simply not enough time to work with for Outlast. Another nade going to come on through, but it's going to find nobody. Silent there, deletes the head of Atheno. Nomad, the last player standing. 4 defenders now engulfing on the position. It is Niccolo who comes from above. A nice little flank with the SMG-11 to find that last kill, and Waverunners will bounce back and take their second round.
And that's the weakness of the horizontal clear. Like you said, not worrying about that top floor means that any players lingering up there are going to be able to do whatever the hell they want. Niccolo getting not only 1 kill, but the second into Memo. If you're doing a horizontal push like that, and there are players upstairs, you cannot linger in Memo for too long. That's why a lot of times on these direct horizontals, we see things like Pantry. We see things like China pushes. Memo is hard to get a solid foothold in when there's still top floor defenders that are not being distracted at all. Niccolo is completely free to his own devices. So when Outlast makes their push in, not just Niccolo, but his teammates as well, I believe it was Silent, were able to completely destroy those players. And that was pretty much it. Outlast once again just took too long and had too little control to show for it. So once again, the sites will unlock, and they will go back to AVG, and hopefully Outlast have solved their timing predicament.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we'll see it really punish them if they, yet again, take a little bit too long working their way through the map. Because on both of these top floor sites, what is rather unusual, but we've seen now both times Waverunners have gone upstairs, is the lack of an extension. We haven't seen Waverunners play any sort of roamer or any sort of even defensive setup. Not a lot of utility committed to one side of the map or the other. That's not the objective. It's really just coming down to Outlast working their way through empty rooms. It seems that they might have learned from that mistake because they're all positioned, at least all spawning, right on the south side by ruins. You've got two players already working their way towards that main lobby and creeping up towards that main staircase. So we could see a bit of a change here. Waverunners, they may be prepared for this, however, because they do have the vertical holes pre-established, and they've got somebody lurking very close behind, sitting in library. And I'm not sure that Outlast are aware of that quite yet. You're going to have a couple of nades go up, but right now the Waverunners are tunnel visioned when there is a player on this first floor, and that could be a problem at a later stage in the round. But since that player has backed on off, Outlast feel comfortable continuing this pressure. Genesis is, in fact, already in the classical hallway right next to the site, pressuring heavily on this objective. Combined with the pressure from below, Waverunners pretty distracted right now, and Outlast making a lot better use of the time than previously.
Yeah, the player who was lurking on the middle floor seemed as if he fell back down through the hatch into the basement. Nicolo playing the long angle down 90 will get downed, but not finished off. So he'll be recovered by a close-by teammate. So no man advantage just yet for Outlast. They still pressure in the books, but the angle nearly found from Maple. He'll tag Genesis up a little bit, but again, the damage is rather negligible. No open study wall through the footholes mean that this control is rather free, and especially as the wall has been opened, Genesis can establish the crossfire into sight, denying Bar a power position played by the defense. However, the other wall is still jammed. The ace can't get that open, but he'll still be able to open the Bar wall further, allowing for even more sight lines into games. Panic will get the lead-off kill, finishing off the low HP Nicolo after he had been revived. There's a lion call. Is there going to be a play off of it? Genesis cannot find the frag. Vena gets one. Lovely with another. In fact, it's two for the Echo as Maple finishes off another. It's just Panic alone, and Maple finds three. Waverunners able to take round 4 in stride, as after losing the first body, not a single other defender goes down.
Yeah, Waverunners, they seem to not mind losing these opening duels. I mean, all on both Trophy and Statuary and Aviator in games, on the times we've seen these sites, 3 times now total, Waverunners have fallen victim to the opening frag and have won the round anyway. Of course, the other Trophy and Statuary round going Outlast's way. But the 2 AVG rounds, the first pick goes to Outlast, and they cannot capitalize. It's something we saw them do really well on Trophy and Statuary, but they just can't quite transition that. And that's a bit worrying here. Because Outlast, they've got their players in just about all the right places. I mean, we saw 2 players pushing up that classical hall towards that games door just as somebody was pushing in from that study hall breach that was made. Unfortunately, the timing of that swing was probably about 1.5 seconds off, and you couldn't get that crossfire. Instead, it was 3 1v1 duels that Waverunners were happy to take and happy to win. They had some crossfires of their own, they had some intel to work with, and because Outlast, they were just a bit too quick on the draw when it came to the execute, it was a little bit of isolated solo pushes, and they did not win those 1v1s. That came back to bite him in the end, as Waverunners, like you said, Harrison, didn't lose a single player aside from that first pick. So a really good way to bring that round back, and that's going to give them a 2-round lead heading into round number 5, where they head back to Trophy and Statuary to try to recover this round.
So far, the common theme for the attacks has just been, maybe just taking a little bit too long. I'm waiting for Outlast to speed things up. And I was really thinking the Lion might be the one to do it, because normally when you see a Lion being brought, especially on a map like Villa, it means the attackers are going to be taking in, they're going to be taken quickly, they're going to play rather aggressively and make sure they have control in record time. But Outlast played with it pretty slowly. There wasn't a lot of capitalization on the Lion itself either. And Outlast will once again switch up an operator. They are taking the Flores. Now, when it comes to a defense like this, where Waverunners have stockpiled utility on the site, the Flores can definitely come in handy. His drones just bypass all of those ADSs, all the LMI magnets, and if you don't hit them in time, they just go indestructible and blow whatever the hell he wants up. I'm a little bit confused as to why Atheno is hard sticking this Jackal, as I don't believe the Jackal, his utility hasn't really... Nothing has really come of it yet. I mean, their clears are still slow. Again, you know, Jackal is very similar to a Lion where, you know, you're looking to speed up your own clear. They've still been rather slow. He hasn't used his smokes. I'm wondering why Atheno isn't just bringing, you know, a different op.
Well, this time, again, it's Panic with a couple of pretty common nade spots up towards the astronomy desk, but nobody positioned behind that, and nobody going to fall super early. Eventually, the opening pick will be found by Outlast yet again. That is lovely, the first player to fall, Jewel on the delivering end. And now with astronomy control pretty much secured, it's just all up to Outlast and how they actually execute into the site. One player from that bore window, the trophy landing, making a couple of pretty good shots, but Atheno making quick work of another coming from below. Nomad gets another kill, a 2v5 now for Waverunners. Jewel cleans up another. That's a double kill on the round. Now gets the bomb down, but it doesn't matter because Genesis is there. Another double kill and a very nice round for Outlast. Exactly what they had done the previous time. They just stormed right on into trophy, and it seemed that Waverunners had nothing they could do to stop it. Outlast kind of skipping that early to mid-round phase we've seen them struggling with now several rounds in a row. Instead, kind of just skipping right to the execute. In this case, it paid off.
Yeah, it was a very minimal downstairs clear. Of course, there was no one for them to deal with, so all that control was free. They took a fair bit to get Astro, but still, getting Astro like that is a huge step, and the way Outlast played it, despite not having the best timing in the beginning of the round, he still made the most of it towards the end phase. They took Astro, and there wasn't a single solo push after that. Everyone on that team started moving as a unit, like a phalanx, coming in and just overwhelming every position they decided to take. I mean, even when Nomad separated from the pack to go into the site to try and get that bomb down, he had Jewel covering from Master to stop the Maestro from swinging on him. It was almost constant gunfire we heard from the side of Outlast. The guns were just ringing over and over again as almost suppressing fire, like taking turns, watching an angle, making sure that Waverunners, every time they peeked an angle, they'd be nervous about it, and they couldn't confidently swing anything to take back control. So well played by Outlast. Still, we got one round to go, and this will decide if Waverunners take a standard 4-2, or if Outlast manage to crawl back an even split on their attack.
Yeah, even split on Villa attack is pretty good. I mean, it's not as rare as it once used to be. This map shifting from very defensive-sided to only slightly defensive-sided in the recent few seasons. But this site itself has at least been defender-sided in this matchup. We saw how last time Outlast didn't opt for the top-down clear, instead played horizontally, and a couple of cheeky plays. Genesis up into Memo. It was strong, don't get me wrong there, but unfortunately losing a couple of gunfights combined with the vertical play that they just chose not to clear out, and Waverunners played to a T. That really caught them out in the end. So we'll have to see how they can adapt, but right now it does seem that they are going to run with a very similar strategy, not committing anyone to the top floor, instead putting all of this pressure into the horizontal clear. Genesis actually going below to check if anybody is lurking downstairs to try to prevent the same play we saw last time, but no. In fact, Genesis, after making a lot of sound, is just going to walk on in and get one, now 2 kills. Actually, Panic stealing that kill just before, but the plant from Jewel is going down. Nomad will be taken care of, so will Atheno, but Panic on the coverage will secure a double kill. Now looking for 3 as Lovely will swing around in the mudroom there, but will not be able to find much at all. Nicolo, here caught in laundry, gonna try to find something, the FMG9. A toxic canister will help that process, but 4 attackers sit very patiently in the site, pre-firing this angle. That's gonna be the end of Nicolo. It's all up to Lovely, who gets 2 on the flank. That's a triple kill now. The nade finishes off Nicolo, and Genesis is there to finish off Lovely. So a great round there from Outlast. Again, aggressive, and it paying off. They're going to equalize the score at 3-3.
That's what we need to see from those horizontal pushes. They did not linger. Instead, as soon as Genesis got that early 2-piece in Memo, which I'll be honest, the defense should have probably expected, considering he did it both times on that site. They even had it barricaded. I don't know why there were cracks in the barricade, whether that was made by the defense or the attack, but either way, they had it barricaded. And they let themselves die to the same trick twice. So, early double kill from Genesis, and what immediately happens after? As if right on cue, the attack pushes in, they start getting that plant down in Kitchen. Because, what did they have? They had the horizontal control, and they actually used it. They pushed through China! That's what we need to see. So not only did they have Memo, they had China, they had the split on the site, they got the plant down, and those retaking players are swamped. Nicolo, unfortunately, decides he's going to go through laundry, which was barricaded earlier, so he's just kind of stuck there. He's a moot point. Lovely tried his best, but he's only able to get 2 in the end. So good stuff from Outlast, good stuff from Genesis, getting a 3K on that round, really opening things up for his team. And I'm glad we saw better timing. Better usage of the control they had from Outlast. And that'll give them an even half, which is not bad at all. Definitely better for Outlast than it is for Waverunners, but it's still not cause for concern for the team that is now on the attack. And Jonah, we have an Amaru.
Yeah, this one, I feel like we saw an Amaru like once last week on Cafe, I think. Trying to remember who exactly. Oh no, not last week. I'm sorry, yesterday even. I'm trying to remember who played that, but either way, a unique pick, something that you rarely get to see at the Challenger League level of Siege here. And I'm curious to see exactly what Lovely is going to do with it, because for now, the rest of the team is just working their way on in for a horizontal clear. They have now definitely figured out what the objective is. It's kitchen and dining, a nice generally tertiary bomb site to come out first here from the Outlast defense. And, well, they've got all of the right components to make it successful. You've got the pulse, you've got multiple C4s, you've got that mute for that information denial on the site, and for that upstairs extension, if you're going to opt for it. And looks like we do have a little bit of a roam at least. That's where Genesis is going to be positioned. We saw him take care of that drone, but 2 players are up here. And that's what Waverunners, it appears, are going to be opting to deal with next. Right now, it's Lovely all alone. Everyone else busy doing a couple of other things downstairs. And this could be rather risky. Lovely, not only alone, but is face-checking angles, unsure of where these Outlast roamers are playing. And this kind of clear takes a lot of time. And now is just going to have to rely on the element of surprise.
He also hasn't used his hook, so I'm wondering if he's literally just playing Amaru for the G8? Or maybe he's got something else in store later in the round? I'm not really quite sure. Another thing we haven't touched on is Nomad is currently running Pulse Shotgun. So, you know, if there's people above him, he can go ahead and shotgun their feet, but that's not really where they're clearing from. The first kill will go to Panic as he finds the head of Nicolo, but it was a quick refrag. Lovely finally netting 1 kill on his early roam clear, now seeing a second upstairs. As you know, there's a third. It's Panic now taking damage. Lovely, you do not have a secondary as you are bringing the Gone 6. Luckily for him, Panic does not repeak. A stun goes in to try and facilitate this kill, but Nomad with a pistol rips Maple's head off. A nice shot from the Pulse. In comes another push as Panic finds 1. Then has been downed. And who does that leave? It leaves the Amaru all alone upstairs, now on a wild goose chase as those roamers had fallen back and actually gotten kills on the site. It's Nomad to finish him off with the pistol. 2 pistol kills for our Resident Pulse Shotgun as Outlast, for the first time in this map, will take the lead.
I mean, yeah, so far we have seen a great game with, for the most part, a lot of sensible, pretty default stuff. Finally, we'll see that kind of pattern change. The Amaru pick makes no sense. The way Lovely played it
Yeah.
makes no sense. There's
playing
just
for the
no
G8.
justifying that. I mean, you got the G8 in hand, so that's fun. And you were clearing upstairs all alone, so that's fun. But as we saw, the result ended up just being a bait your whole team kind of situation. If you've got 4 of your players pushing on into that site and dying on in that site, feel like that's some sort of indication that maybe you want to clear upstairs, fine, do it, but do it with manpower, do it with information, neither of which Lovely had for that clear.
Yeah, there was not following any drones, just kind of face checking stuff. I mean, he got 1 kill. He got Jaeger. No one else on his team got anything else. They were pushing the site pretty dry. No upstairs coverage means that Panic is allowed to fall back to the site for free. Nomad hit some nasty headshot with the pistol. I think he domed Maple, I think it was. And I mean, Waverunners at that point, like at least when Outlast had pushed, right? Doing the full horizontal. Outlast had their entire team pushing. On the round, it was successful, of course. Had their entire team pushing. They already had a man advantage. They had opening picks. They had full memo control, full control of Bicycle, pushed through China, blah, 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 blah. What did Waverunners have? Really nothing. They just tried to walk in with very limited control, an even man count, and what appeared to be not a lot of info on the site. So maybe they could take a page out of Outlast's book and learn how to actually take that. Trophy will be the next site for the defense, avoiding AVG for now, at least as a bomb site, but they do have somebody over there. They even have a mirror window, I think, if I saw that correctly earlier. So they do have that AVG extension. Yep, there's a mirror window on Aviator facing the study valve. The entire wall being reinforced. I believe it's going to be Panic playing in there. Genesis supporting him from 90. And maybe we'll see if Atheno decides to stick downstairs or come back up. Okay,
well,
he's back up.
Yeah, for now he's going to retreat back upstairs, it seems. And the bottom floor clear is going to get well underway. You've got Vena leading the charge with that Gemini clone on the Yana, making sure there's nobody positioned in kitchen and dining, and nobody is there. Everyone is upstairs on the site itself, or slightly extended over towards Aviator and Games, but as soon as Outlast realized that's not what's going on, they shouldn't have much trouble adjusting for it. Looks like Jewel really wanted a kill early, and peeks that laundry hatch, only to find Nicolo staring right at it. Aggressive play from a Maestro, of all people. Because Maestro is one of those you really want around later in the game. Those Maestro cams, now you can't turn them. Now you can't use them to deny the plant. That could be troubling. Thankfully, you've got the Mira still, so you've got a lot of that intel game potentially working for you. But you don't have Panic to help shoot back. It's going to be a 5v3 as Waverunners will claim what looked like 2 pretty effortless kills at the onset of this round. Maple will now try to continue this attacking pressure as a Selma Charger 2 will go down on this master wall. And a lot of pressure towards this Astro side will begin. Genesis getting aggressive, looking for a kill and perfectly finding it. There goes Maple. And now stuck here in bedroom, unsure of exactly where these last few attackers are. Nicolo is in the bathroom, mind you, 3 steps away to find this refrag, but is equally frozen in place. The jump out from Genesis, the aggression will pay off again, but finally Nicolo will assist his teammates and make something happen. A 3v2 now, Waverunners still in the advantage, but less so.
Nomad trying to go for a hero play, flanking around in the bathroom, gets cut down for Nicolo's 3rd kill, and that leaves Atheno all alone in a 1 versus 3. 40 seconds left for the attackers to play with. It looks like they know he's there. Well, they do now as he pre-fires up the Astro stairs. There's a drone in his path as the diffuser starts being planted. There's an open mirror window for him to contest with, as well as the angle through the Astro split. This is a nigh unwinnable round here for Atheno. Waverunners are playing it just passive enough as Nicolo finally swings around the bathroom to find not only the plant, but his 4th kill. Now, there's a couple things that I would like to touch on in that round. Why the hell would you ever peek the laundry hatch, ever, in any situation, ever? Why? Unless the defense is dining and the attack is trying to execute from laundry and you still have full top floor control, I mean, why would you? All right, well, anyway. Jewel died early. I don't know how Panic died. That was probably just whatever. Then, where is Maple's support? Why is Maple alone in master bedroom as Ace while he's droning? Niccolo is pushed up into bathroom. There is nobody on his balcony. The rest of the team is either downstairs or outside somewhere. Why is Maple alone? You can't leave your hard breacher there. I don't know whether that's on the rest of the teammates or for Niccolo maybe pushing up a little bit too far and not covering his teammate. But they didn't even they decided to set a claymore at the brick store and be like, "Yep, we're done. That's it. That's all we need." And as we see, unless they are below a window or on a run out or something, claymores don't tend to be all that effective in stopping a flank.
10 seconds left.
But hey, Niccolo got 4 kills, so who am I to judge? Waverunners end up tying the score. We are back on Aviator Games. This is the very first time that Waverunners will have to attack it. Alice have been avoiding the site for now. It is their 3rd site, curiously enough, and they are playing it with an Echo with a shotgun, which is not a cardinal sin anymore. Now that the Bearing 9 has been nerfed and is reusable, I've certainly missed seeing Echo shotguns, because those have always been rather interesting. He's got both drones in pocket up until now, likely just not wanting to risk them getting shot early. But Outlast do have a decent bit of coverage, even extending downstairs, and Lovely is once again bringing the Amaru.
I guess another chance to see if this one pays off. A little bit concerned considering how it went last time, but for now, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Niccolo as well, who's been playing pretty aggressive. That aggression has been paying off, and although, like you highlighted in the last round, a couple of positioning mistakes have definitely emerged from this attacking side already. 10 kills have been found, and that's exactly what you want from your attacking entry player here. So it seems to go on this clear. Outlast are, or at least to go on this extension rather, Outlast put a lot of utility on the side of Trophy and Statuary, but nobody is actually staffing this position. That means once Waverunners drone that out, which they have, they can walk right on in. They've done that, and they've secured firm control of one side of the top floor. Now it just comes down to transitioning to the other side, a transition which will be made a little bit harder now that you've lost an intel operator. Venom is going to be cut down here. C4 wasted, so that is at least one positive for the side of Waverunners. But now you've lost Lovely, or at least Lovely has been down. I'm not sure, probably from above there. Or, yeah, could have been a team down as well. Depending on the situation, I think. Okay, so Genesis in the middle of the hallway. That's going to be another messy kill, but it'll go the way of Outlast. Silent is quick to play the trade, but the Amaru pick is equally perplexing this round as it was 2 rounds ago.
Yeah, the Amaru hasn't really done anything with the grappling hook. I mean, maybe they're bringing it for burn and a Gone 6, but I mean, he hasn't even done that, so I don't really know what the deal is. Silent, though, below, will get a nade kill onto Panic to even up the man count. So we are at 3 versus 3, but Silent is still downstairs, and there's only 25 seconds left. So he's got to rotate up quickly to try and rejoin his team, and it looks like the spot where he'll post up is the study window, making sure that his team can't get killed from exactly this position. Good repositioning from Silent. In comes the push. Nomad will trade himself off with the shotgun, and Atheno is off the site looking to flank through Skull. He wants to kill Niccolo, and Waverunners have absolutely no info. The plant will start going down. Atheno knows exactly where it is, but he can't deny it. No! He'll be able to down him with the last couple bullets in the mag just as he fades away, and Silent cannot get the trade. There was not enough time. Waverunners end up dropping the ball. They had all the site control in the world, and they didn't even know it.
Had high hopes going into this one, Harrison. I had high hopes. Last week, we saw these teams. They played exceptional. But this thing, things have taken a little bit of a turn. The first half of this map was phenomenal. It was great. We saw nothing out of the ordinary, pretty standard attacks, defenses from both sides, and we saw, that 3-3 half come out pretty successfully. So we're in for a close game, and the second half has proved that as well, but it has gotten a little bit messy. Couple of more mistakes are finding their way through the cracks for both of these teams in Waverunners. Although they really started out strong in their attack, despite throwing away an operator pick on the Amaru, the rest of their attack was looking really good. They cleared out the player below. They cleared out the trophy and statuary side without much of a trouble at all, because Outlast wasn't putting any manpower on that side of the map. And yes, they had site control in a 2v1. Unfortunately, the intel game is what got them in the end. Nicolo, because they didn't know they had full site control, you're not going to run all the way into the site and plant. Instead, planting behind the maps table in a default position, vulnerable to a flank. And the study player was covering the site and was not covering that door into the long hall, simply because they didn't know. And sometimes just one piece of intel can make or break the round. In this case, it broke the round for Waverunners, and Outlast were more than happy to capitalize, regain the lead, and move ahead, heading back to trophy and statuary to try to make something happen.
That's one of the things about a lot of these games. It comes down to just like one tiny itty-bitty misstep. Like one drone. One flank drone in 90 would have completely prevented that clutch. That's all it would have taken. Unfortunately, Waverunners either didn't have the foresight or just didn't have the necessary drones left. But either way, Outlast once again reestablished their 1-point lead. They are 1 point away from taking at least 1 point and guaranteeing themselves OT. Fun fact, despite only having 1 win each, Outlast is actually ahead of Waverunners in the standings, since their win against Oculix was in regulation, and Waverunners' win against the Pioneers was in overtime. So, if anything, Waverunners needs all the points they can get to not only catch up to Outlast, but also widen the gap between themselves and Livid. If you had told me in the beginning of the season that Livid was going to be the only team in this group who are currently winless, I would have called you crazy. But turns out that reality is often stranger than fiction. Nicolo, though, continuing his hot streak from last round, will find his 12th kill, knocking Panic off the board.
Yeah, great opening pick for Waverunners again. Exactly what they need to take yet another trophy and statuary round. Last time we were here, of course, their attack was successful. So we'll have to see if they can continue that presence. This time, Outlast are finally actually going to commit people to that extension. Genesis, until a moment ago at least, was over in Aviator in games, but... Okay, now that... Did he not just... I guess he just kind of sprinted up the stairs and took him down.
2 people just entered basement.
All right, so another bit of a misstep for Outlast. Information getting the better of them as well. And, well, looks like that's about it for the round. Waverunners storming in and taking it. Not a lot of... order and planning needed for that round. Strategy, a word that really just went by the wayside, because Waverunners, they just got the kills they needed. They walked into sight. Outlast were scrambling. They had lost some players downstairs that they simply were not ready to lose. And then losing the off-site player, at that point, it's do or die. We saw a couple of attempts for some Hail Mary game-saving plays, and they just didn't happen. Waverunners tie us up at 5. A competitive matchup indeed.
Yeah, that round was... I don't even know what the hell happened that round. That was a 5v4 until both Silent and Vena came sprinting up the basement stairs. That was actually kind of funny. And then, Vena killed someone in sight with a nade, and Waverunners just had a pretty insurmountable man advantage. And, well, swept in like a tide, if I can use that pun. Outlast will now go on to Dining, a site that they started their defensive half off on, and a site that they had started off well on. Really only forfeiting, I believe, a single body, because Waverunners tried to do the same horizontal minimalist take that Outlast did, just more incorrectly. I guess. Once again, that top floor pressure that was never dealt with, established by the defense, end up biting the attack in the backside, combined with some incredible pistol shots from the pulse shotgun of Nomad, who is still currently running that loadout. So hopefully Waverunners, now that they've dealt with the strategy once, are more prepared to deal with it again. And it does look like, in fact, they're all spawning by Master. They're going to do their due diligence and take care of these top floor players.
This is the change that I think we need to see happen successfully, right? We haven't seen either of these teams at all on now the 4th time we're seeing this site in play actually go for a top-down clear, fully commit all their resources and fully commit to this progression. Waverunners, at least we're seeing the beginnings of something here. Early on in this round, it's just about obtaining the intel. Actually, how much time will they have to take clearing this out? If there isn't all that much, then it should be rather easy for them. It only is one player at the moment. There is a lot of intel coming from below, however, compounding that position, and that's exactly why Vena is here, to make sure these players below can't feel safe to do much of anything. Trying to pressure that pulse, trying to pressure Atheno, who has that C4 pre-placed and ready to toss, and make sure that they deny this vertical play as long as possible. But we're talking about this vertical play, and we are yet to see it, in fact. Time ticking away, and Waverunners nervous about entering into the building, instead opting to enter through laundry as an option. Vena, first player in, Nicolo close behind. Looks like a nade is the next step to making this push, but that is going to be quickly burned out by an ADS as expected. And no progress yet to be made from Waverunners much at all. They've now taken a minute to sit around outside and think about the plan, but they haven't taken upstairs control. Silent still at the master window, and they haven't taken horizontal control either. At least they do have a kill to speak for.
Yeah, Panic, that was a little bit of unlucky timing. Just as he was going to re-engage the bricks door, that's when Silent decided to throw the nade. So the Vigil is now dead, but it's taken a whole 2 minutes to get this opening frag, and Silent doesn't really have enough time to go for this vertical play, and that's not even going to matter as Genesis retakes up red. He'll get one kill. There's a C4 from Nomad to answer Maple as Nicolo trades out the Jaeger, and it's a one-man disadvantage for the attack. Both of them now pushing into Memo. The shotgun from the Pulse finds its mark. He's looking for the second as well, and Nomad will go huge. A 3K for the Pulse shotgun to put Outlast on map and match point.
That is the perfect way to punish an indecisive attack. I mean, it's perfect. Waverunners didn't do much of anything in that round. We talked a lot about the top-down clear. We were really hoping they would do, Harrison, but they didn't do it.
Man.
Then maybe they would opt to clear vertical. I mean, horizontally at least. They didn't do that either. No, it was a sit around and wait for the right kind of plan to come across their minds, wait for the right opportunity to arise, and it just didn't happen. Outlast were not showcasing, not giving away the free kills, and your enthusiasm, Harrison, I have a feeling it's because Lovely is going to be playing a useful operator.
Oh, it's their Nomad for the first time this game.
He's been on Jackal. He's been on Jackal and Amaru.
Dude,
and we haven't really seen those pay off.
Even Outlast brought like Jackal every round. Finally, Nomad. I am so happy to see her. I wasn't going to bring this up until we had another like weird flank situation, which actually that round was the perfect opportunity. Neither of these teams have been playing Nomad. And there are so many times where one defender will just happen to go off on their own, catch the attack off guard, and get a flank. We saw it from, when Maple died alone in Master. We saw it when Athenio took in a 90 to deny the final plant. We saw it on Outlast attack, when someone from Waverunners would just appear somewhere. They got a kill. And now we have Nomad. Woo! So, we'll see if this puts a little bit of a damper on Outlast's, it hasn't really been flank heavy. So I can't say flank heavy play. But there have been many times where Outlast, if given the opportunity, have taken it. So I'm glad to see the change from Waverunners. And it looks like this Nomad in particular will be assisting the downstairs clear.
Right, Panic is definitely that one player that Outlast, or rather Waverunners, are going to have to worry about here. As the Vigil, I mean, his responsibility is just to run around, cause chaos, make sure Waverunners continue that indecision, and make sure that happens by making sure they don't know where you are at any given time. Seems that Silent will go for the nade play, just a bit off, but it will get the down, in fact, as Nomad falls to the floor, and Silent, a beautiful little bang through the floor to finish off that kill. So the Waverunners, on match point, look to bounce back with a vengeance. They will claim that opening kill, and now will be looking to cascade that pressure into the site. Still, 3 players sit below. Lovely, the first player to actually contest this top floor, that coming in the form of this 90 Repel. Finally, the main stairs push is inbound, but a great kill from Genesis onto Lovely shuts down one. Genesis now with a second, aided very heavily by Atheno, holding that door very aggressively. It paying off because Nicolo missed a couple of very key shots. Silent, an answer is found onto Jewel, and that's going to be the mute off the board, and this one is going to turn into a 3v3 with about 60 seconds to play.
Atheno is currently death staring Silent through the mirror window. Unfortunately, he can't really do anything about it unless he popped it, and he doesn't seem too keen on doing that. He will just remain there, calling out that, hey guys, Silent is right next to the doorway. The ace charges will finally be allowed to go off as the mute jammer has been cleared, and that makes that mirror window Atheno is playing behind unplayable. There's no longer a viable spot to sit. Vena is low HP, as is the Goyo, so this 3v3 is just about even in the health department, but the time is ticking. 30 seconds remaining for Waverunners to try and push in. They do have the bar wall open. It looks like Silent's going to hit the crouch walk. He doesn't know Atheno is just to his left, though, and the Goyo will take him by surprise! He'll take both players by surprise. It's 2 for the Goyo, 3 for the Jaeger, and that's it! Villa's over. Outlast take the victory. They will extend their lead in the standings above both Waverunners and Livid. It's a big 3 points on the board as they take 2 wins in a row.